And we're back on YouTube. What's up, fams? What's up, y'all? Um, how are you? My name is Kenny Glick. I've been trading probably longer than you have. It's pretty much guaranteed. Since the inception of day trading, as we know it, there was a system called Small Order Execution System, SOES, SOES. And by the way, if anybody would like a copy of this book, it's called The SOES Bandits, Day Trading in the 21st Century, written by the guy that taught my friend or my fraternity brother how to trade. And they bestowed that wisdom upon me in 1998. And we've been doing this ever since. And, I've been looking for an advantage in trading, just like everybody else. Everybody's got the Holy Grail. Maybe you've bought into systems or ideas or alerts, or maybe you've purchased something as far as the stock market's concerned to try to get a helping hand, a scanner or something like that, or obviously YouTube gurus or people on the internet. Maybe you've been doing this long enough to realize that most people don't know what they're talking about, and I'm included. Again, I'm a perma bear, so I've had to lick my wounds plenty of times during my career, if you want to call it a career, because I've been punished by going short in a market that perpetually goes up. It only goes up, always goes up, never ever does it stay down. You can have opportunities like we're in the midst of right now where you can stay short for 3 weeks. And I've been short. And again, I had the biggest short position on in my uh, illustrious career back in 2012. Obviously, it didn't. 2012, what year is this? Yeah, 2012 didn't work out then. Tried it again, 2014 didn't work out then. Tried it again 2 weeks ago, didn't work out then. I was forced out again. I'm not covering my shorts until I'm forced out. So this time around, I'm still short because I haven't been forced out, because that's how bearish the market's been. All that being said, doesn't matter. It's not up. This video is not for me to talk about whether the market's going up or down today or where it's going in the next couple of days. That's insignificant. That's irrelevant. The main idea from today is that what you just witnessed, again, over the last, let's just call it 3 or 4 years, forget about the COVID low and the government coming to the rescue of the market and having the ridiculous rally where Cathie Wood was a champ. Everyone was a champ in that market. The market went up every day for 18 months, right? Even I had a swing trade portfolio that was working. But then there came the crash. That's where I love to make money, because most people don't know how to make money in a down market. And they always start screaming some sort of manipulation when the market goes down. Down to me is reality, because most stocks do stink, just like you're seeing in Tesla right now, right? Every stock has a shelf life and they expire, and then they throw them out, and they usually stay expired and they're garbage. Every once in a while they get resurrected like a Carvana, but that's now, it got to where it needed to go. 58 got you 76, 76 got you the 96, and now where are you? You're right back to the area where it broke out from, the 67, 68 area. And if that breaks down, it could go right back to $5, because that's what stocks do. Most stocks stink. They have shelf lives, right? There's only going to be one Eli Lilly. There's only going to be one. What stock hasn't really ever gone? Meta had its, every stock's had its battles, right? Even Nvidia. Chances are no one's going to come along in the next 3 to 5 years that can compete with them with what they do. They'll probably stay ahead of the technology, but you can't tell me that someone can't come along and invent something that's better and faster and stronger and cheaper. And Nvidia will be a has-been. It can happen. But the point of this video right now, if you're still watching this, right? Throughout history and throughout time and throughout my career, I've been around. I've seen booms and busts, crashes and rallies. I've seen every market that can possibly. I've seen real wars. I've seen fake wars. I've seen a real pandemic. I've seen fake pandemics like what everybody thought COVID was at first. We've had bird flus. We've had S1, R1, N1. We've had diseases thrown at us. We've had mad cow, China contagion. Could go on and on and on. I wrote a song about it. But, Russia going into Crimea and Ukraine, you understand, right? The perpetual bull market never really ends. If you look at the overall charts, every moment we've had is a blip. But underneath, most stocks do what ASP and Very and Sound and Jumama and Carvana and Iova and Luna and CCC and Path and Z and Captain, 90% of stocks, when the market starts to rebound, they don't rebound because they stink. They have moments where they rip and rip and rip. And that's when I love being a bear, because I know when the shorts have overstayed their welcome and I can play stocks like the Carvanas and the Veris and all the other bullshit. But right now, right, is the most important moment. And I haven't even got to the point of the video. No matter what you think the market's going to do for the rest of today, next week, or a year from now, or 20 years from now, I have a trade that has not failed this year. Not once. Not once. Not one loss. How is that possible, Kenny? Nobody has a trade that works every time. I do. Then how come you're not a billionaire? Because I'm a schmuck. That's why. I'm the first one to admit it. I have a trade, and I say this all the time. I have a trade that works every time. Maybe I should be only doing that, but I don't. I swing trade. I get caught up in some A-Labs or ARMs or Palantirs or Iovas or Carvanas, and usually it gets bad. But see, this is where being bearish is good. You know that these Veris and Sounds and Jumamas and Carvanas are bullshit. And you know inevitably they're going to go back down, if not back down to zero. So you're more inclined to say, hey, this trade looks like it's over. Let's get the fuck out. It's okay. See, the reason people fail is that they look at where the stock was and they say, oh, I wish I would have sold it here. I don't want to sell it here. No, sell it there. Because when you say that to yourself, what happens next? It gets worse. Oh, I wish I would have sold here. Oh, man, I really wish I would have sold there. And now you're what we call a bag holder. You're in a position that you know you shouldn't be in, but you're still in it because you didn't sell where you wanted to sell. You know what you're supposed to do right there? Sell it anyway. You think I'm happy about selling Very when it broke back under 550? When that stock broke 750 and you had a gun to my head and you said, Kenny, you think this thing's ever going back under 550? Hell no. We're going to 10 because that's what momentum was telling us and the charts. But then the next day, it had a blow off top, broke the prior low, and it was over, Johnny. Let me show you. So again, sorry, it's just my face talking here. Here's some fancy shit for you. Watch this. Now, you guys see it, right? So here's Carvana, just for shits and giggles. First chart I'm showing you, right? I don't care what you think, right? The stock doesn't care. Nobody cares what you think, right? So if you've been witnessing what Carvana's been doing, it's called distribution, right? It's hit highs, but then it's sold off. It hit highs and it's sold off. And then if you've been watching it as closely as I have, you see there's been more selling than buying, but it just hasn't given way. Inevitably, it gives way like the market did. It finally gave way. You can't have distribution without accumulation, without the market giving way. And it gave way. So here's how you take the overall picture and then you zoom in on what's happening today. And that's how you stay successful as a day trader, right? You know Carvana's been weak. You know there have been sellers up there. You know this market's been giving back every up move. And you know Carvana is a market stock. As the market goes, so goes Carvana, or how goes Carvana, goes the market. They're one and the same. The Qs, NVIDIA, Microsoft, the whole thing. They're all tied together. All right, cool. You know this stock is weak. So now you're waiting for something. Let's see. I want to short Carvana. I want to short Carvana, but I want some sort of validation or some justification.
It's breaking the multi-day VWAP. Short it. That's all the justification you need. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
If you get through the 1 minute and you go through this orange line, 9 times out of 10, the stock follows through. 9 times out of 10. How about take this trade? But the only reason I'm showing you Carvana is that I was just looking at it before. This is what we call the 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal. Trade works pretty much all the time. But you know where it works all the time? Every single time? Not one trade has failed. And I can't wait to show you this TFC because I never heard of this stock before in my life, right? Here is the Verizon trade. So when somebody says, Kenny, I got Verizon duty.
There it is.
So the idea is Verizon. First thing I did, turn on the TV. I watch CNBC every morning. It's my religion, right? I want to see what they're talking about. I want to see the sentiment. They're always, if they're overly bullish, I stay bearish. If they're overly bearish, I like to be bullish. But I like to hear what they're talking about. And all I heard was bullish talk about Verizon, and there was a reason. Stock was up close to $2 on good numbers. It sold off It sold off at 7:30 in the morning. There was a VWAP break, and you got paid on a short. But then it came back and broke the VWAP. So here's how I do it. I say to myself, well, has the market been strong lately? No. So the chances are this thing's going to sell off. Stocks that are gapped up tend to find profit taking, especially in a bearish environment. I'm looking to short Verizon.
I'll be back.
See you later. So,
Bye.
See you later. Nine times out of 10, a stock's going to sell off on earnings reports anyway when they're gapped up. Now, why? Because look where it's been over the last year, right? Let's say $30. It rallied to 43. It's been coming in with the market weakness, but it was holding $38, right? So let's say you bought it last week on the weakness at $39.70, and you walked in with an earnings report up. What are you going to do about it? I'm up money on a stock. You bought low. You bought low now, right? What do they say? You bought low, now you sell high. Correct. So you don't know that this is going to be a short, and that's why I say if you come in prepared, and in this case, there was one stock to choose from until somebody mentioned it in the chat room. The other one, I think it was our clock shot buddy, who's always on because we have guys. That's why my chat room is awesome because we're all doing the same thing, or I always assume we're all doing the same thing, right? Let's stick with the Verizon trade, right? So we're looking to sell the stock because of the fade and the profit taking. We're in a weak market. There's probably going to be some profit taking just based on the stock being up. Now stop what you're doing right there. None of that matters. That's your idea. That's your thesis. That's your inkling. That's your notion. That's your whatever. And then it does what it's doing right here. Look how it couldn't stay above where it couldn't stay above earlier. The same exact price, 41.65, hits it here, 41.65. Once you look at the exact prices, you start to see how the market is literally rigged to the price. All right? So then you understand that if a stock breaks back below the VWAP that just reported earnings,
there's no more thinking. Short the stock. Use the high print as your out.
that's it. That's the trade, right? So there it is. That's it. It is this easy. It can be this easy, right? It broke the VWAP. You shorted it, and you used the 41.65 as your out. Because at that point, that was the high of the day. So 3 minutes into the day, you're shorting the stock at 41.40, right? And you're risking 24 cents. And the orange line was way down here at $40.50, right? At 40.5, that was break even for the stock, meaning that's where it gapped up from. So this is why this was a perfect storm, right? So now you're going through the 1 minute, reason enough to go short, because when it breaks the VWAP, that's where the faders get even more encouraged. They're like, oh shit, because they're shorting at the open anyway, just to play the fade. Then you're breaking the VWAP, and now you're breaking that little shelf right there. And then look what it did in the pre-market, right? It breaks the pre-market pivot point, and I don't care if you shorted it there, as long as you define the trade. So let's say you were a little late because you don't want to trade right at the open or 3 minutes in. How about 8 minutes in? Is that good for you? It breaks the low of the day and the pre-market pivot. Reason to short it, using the VWAP and the prior high candles as your stop. But wait, there's more. So now you get down to the prior day VWAP, and the stock's still up 3 or 4 cents. If you're short up here, you're actually taking some profits already right here. But you never get out of your entire position at one price because you're looking at a full-blown reversal now. The stock's going from the blue to the orange, and it's telling you that momentum is to the downside because it can't hold today's VWAP, it can't hold the prior day VWAP, and now it's going red.
Danger, danger, danger. Profits are being destroyed. Sell, sell, sell.
Nothing is worse than you walking in and you're seeing all this green on the screen, and then it's going down, and then it's going down, and then it's going down some more. And you're watching all the profits that you worked so hard for disappear. What are you going to do when it turns red? You're going to be like, fuck, I should have dumped this thing a little while ago. I got to sell it here before it gets worse. And that's why the reversal part, the 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal, you already know the sellers are here. They're piling in here. And now the stock can't even hold the green from its fantastic earnings report. Sell it. And now look at what you could have been doing with options, home pieces. Because every trade I do, I trade real stocks that have options, that have liquidity. Verizon, you could have been looking at the 41.50s, right? Which is what you want to do. Wherever the stock is breaking, you want to go as close to the money as possible. So the 41.50s are the 41 puts. And the best part about trading VWAP reversals with earnings that are in the money is that you could trade the option as if it's the stock. There's the 1 minute. There's the multi-day. You'd been buying these contracts at 95 cents. And again, if you were speculating, you would have been doing them at 40 cents. But even if you bought them at 90 cents, you still wound up making over 300% on your money. And that's just this one freaking trade. And here's the other one. Has anybody ever heard of Truist Financial Corp? Personally, I've never heard of it. The only time I heard of it was when somebody said in the chat room, hey, is this an earnings reversal? And I said, yes, it is.
Buy it.
Never heard of the stock before in my life. Don't care. Missed the blue line break. All right. The stock was gapped down. Remember, this is the opposite side. So in the face of the market finally having its bearish moment, in the face of the market actually selling off at the time, in the face of all this negativity, 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal, stock was going up, bucking the overall trend, making even a better trade than it normally would be. When a stock is bucking the overall trend, you stay with that stock in the trend that it's in. Because what it's telling you is that it doesn't give a shit about the overall market. That's when you know you're on a good trade. There's the blue line break, but let's say you're afraid to trade. You're just buying it because it was gapped down. All right, cool. Here's where we got involved. Way up here. You know why? because I missed the 1 minute and I missed the multi-day. But I know that if a company that reported earnings gets through the blue line and the orange line and then goes green in this case, that's the 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal earnings report. And I've heard that this trade hasn't failed ever this year. Not one. Do it. Buy it. I don't know what it is, but buy it. 36.85 with a 20-cent risk, 30-cent max, and you make yourself $1. That's Canadian for dollar. So you're crushing Q short with me out of the gate. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But let's talk about, let's reel it back in. What's the market going to do for the rest of the day? Who gives a shit? Where are the interest rates going? Doesn't matter. Hey, what kind of environment you think we're in right now? Doesn't matter. Is it bullish or bearish? I'm not sure at this point. Do you think we're going lower? Who cares? Trade the setup. Trade the setup. Verizon was going down no matter what. This stock was going up no matter what. Everything else is incidental. And it continues to work. I have never, ever, I've never seen a trade work this well in my life. And that's it. I wish there was more, right? Like I'm writing a book. I've been writing a book my whole life, right? It's more of a story of debauchery and awfulness, and pretty much most of the book is me blowing my life up. I got to update the book, right? But I wrote a book about all the different things I've done in trading, blah, 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 blah. I can make, if the book was just on trading, I could sum up what you need in 8 pages because there's only a few things the stock could do. And when you're trading VWAP, there's only a few things the stock could do. Dip and rip and roll, or consolidate. That's it. You're dipping and ripping and rolling. There's not many things that a stock could do. Stick with the stock, and then it just comes down to price. So when people say, well, what do you do when a stock is so far away from VWAP? You're now in the milking stage of the trade, right? Now you're just going on price. The easy entries are over, right? So now you could scroll and see where's multiple time frame VWAPs. There's not many to choose from. I've never looked at the stock before in my life. Apparently, it's been pretty flat. And now you go back to just trading price. So if you're in from 36.80, what do you think we were doing at 37? We sold a little bit, right? And then we're looking at 37.25 because $37 stocks tend to trade in 25-cent increments. And if you didn't know that, now you do, right? That's why these $3 stocks that we're often trading that are moving in 2-point increments are fucking out of their minds, right? $2 stocks are not supposed to move $2. That's why I like when this is a normal, easy setup. $35 stock, trading in 25-share increments, low risk, medium reward, make a living. You want to go trade the edibles and the, I could show you a couple of ridiculous names, but watch this. Yeah, I'll just pull up the first one, EDBL. $2 stock the other day, $3.50 this. Well, now that's pretty fucking crazy. I didn't know the stock was $3.50 this morning. $3.50 this morning, went up 100%, right? Okay, cool. You missed it. But then it does this, right? Like I said, there's only a few things a stock could do. This is called a faux show, bro. VWAP break. So you see where it broke down, and then you figure it's about to go to 0, and then it came back above that breakdown, fake out, shake out. And when you start to see the bottoming patterns are below the VWAP, look how it tests the VWAP, So if you missed the perfect entry right there, you see where that volume bar is? That was the smart money. Then, even if you bought it with an anticipation of it breaking the VWAP and it didn't, where it broke back out from is your stop. So you would have been in it. And then let's say you were just saying, hey, this stock looks like it just put in a bottom and it's breaking VWAP.
Buy it.
right? Buy it. A stock can only do a few things. If you see a faux show and then it starts to break VWAP, you understand that this pattern down here traps the shorts. The longs get encouraged there. You saw that. The smart shorters are covering there. Then you get the VWAP break. That's when the algorithms kick in that takes the thought process out of it. The algos are covering whatever that guy has, or they're buying it. 650 break and a VWAP break. Next thing you know, you got a nice trade. So if you guys are listening, if you're paying attention, just give me a random symbol, something that you traded today, and I'll show you what you could have done better or worse. And again, some trades just suck. Some trades never do anything. But if you're trading around VWAP, your entries are always good. The trade is always defined, and it's your decision whether or not you want to be screwed or not. And that's why I've blown up many accounts, because I decide that I'm not covering. It's usually some disastrous short in my life. But if I had VWAP, if I was taking it seriously like I do today, I never would have let what happened to me those 3 years get so hammered. And that's why I'm still short the Qs right now, because you're not getting me out until I'm forced out, right? And the force out for me, look, even this beautiful rally was a fake out, shake out. You didn't get the breakout, but you had a reason to cover some shorts. And now if you sustain a rally and break back over the VWAP, the day trade portion of this is over. But for me, I'm swinging a trade short. I look at multiple time frame VWAPs. I'm looking at 2 days worth of VWAP. My closest stop right now is basically 419.67. I'm trying to milk this trade for as much as I can, considering I've lost probably $20 million shorting the Qs. I'd like to make some real money. And again, I'm not going to overstay my welcome, but I'm short from the 3-month breakdown, which is what I was trying to instill in your heads. If we ever break the 3-month VWAP, we're finally going to go down. And here we are. We got to the levels that I thought. I'm trying to milk it for a little bit more because I still think we can go down a lot more. Not a lot more, but 408 on the Qs is big. And if we don't hold 408, we're going to give way. And if I'm right, we Jerry Orr back this market. And that means we give the whole move back. Not obviously to COVID lows, but we had a pivot point 9 months ago. These are the October pivot lows, right? Not the COVID October. That was 3 years ago. But factoring in this is 9 months worth of VWAP. I really do think we're going to test. See that pivot point? That pivot point now is the 9-month VWAP. This pivot point is the yearly. It's all lining up so well. I did edible already. Everything's lining up so well that I just think we're going to give way. And again, this is what's got me in trouble. And this is why this commentary can mean something to you or doesn't mean. The short, majority of what we were going to make on the short, I think is 60% done. We're just trying to milk it for a little bit more. But this is where I've gotten myself in trouble. So I'm going to just take what I've learned, because when I look at the market, we've had this situation before where I say, all right, the Qs are broken right now because Apple's a little broken, Tesla's a little broken, Netflix is a little broken, right? But we still have Google, Nvidia, Meta, Microsoft, right? So here's what's going to happen. One of those stocks is going to trigger the rest that come along for the ride. And the reason that I keep losing money on these shorts is that I always stay my welcome based on this idea that there's no way this market could rally. And that's exactly how I feel right now. How the hell are we going back to all-time highs on the Qs without Tesla cooperating, without Netflix, right? We're ruling those off. Tesla's not going back to all-time highs this year. No way. Netflix, right? Netflix just reported earnings. They weren't that good. It's going to take a while for that stock to now consolidate, figure out what it wants to do. That's what I think. And every time I get into that mode where I think, all right, there's no way we're going to rally, we do. So I still have to factor that in. As much as I think we can go lower, I've been proved wrong every time. So why would this time be any different? I just think we're going a little bit lower, and inevitably you're going to have to cover and go long, and the market will be at all-time highs, and I'll be just as bewildered then as I am every freaking time. Because this move from October 342 to 449 was out fucking standing. And if you didn't make money from the October lows till the end of March, what were you doing? I mean, I own 19 stocks, and all 19 of them worked. Anyway, but look what the Qs are doing right now. It's giving you a reason to want to believe in the bull, right? Believe in the bull. And the bulls right now are looking at this trade as a simple setup because look where it broke. See this line? The top of this candle and the bottom of that candle are basically the same, right? So that's a support level. Market loves that shit. When tops of candles get tested from on top and hold, that's a new area of support. So anybody who's buying the Qs right now, they say, hey, I could buy a $416 stock right now with 60-cent risk. Breaks the VWAP, we could be off to the races. So the bulls got reason to be bullish now. That was the first time we've held and we bounced. And now the shorts are thinking if it breaks back over the VWAP at the top of that range, they're going to cover and the longs are going to get excited. So there's a big moment for the market right now on the Qs. For the day trader, I wouldn't want to be short if you break back above that 14, 16, 21, and 24. So right now is the moment of truth. What's going to happen? Were you waiting for an answer? I don't know what's going to happen. But I'll tell you something else, friends. And again, if you were short the market, maybe your short's already over. I'm swinging a short. The day trade portion might be coming to an end in the matter of the next 2 or 3 minutes. But look, we haven't broke over it. What was it going to show you? Oh, UVXY, right? Now, where's my friend who wants to know Kenny Glick guarantees trades? This is the guarantee, okay? Now, look, nothing's guaranteed, right? You could still fuck up a trade that's guaranteed. You want to know why? You want to know how? Because you're scared, right? How about going short volatility over the last 2 weekends? We had World War III breaking out, rockets being shot at, terrorists parading around our own country, burning flags in the streets of America. And by the way, if this is one of your kids, maybe you should talk to your kid about 9/11. Because inevitably, and again, this is another reason I'm bearish the market because I'm bearish society. Inevitably, this is going to come to a head where people like me who are on the fringe of going out there and doing something about it will do something about it. It's not going to be me, but I'm rooting for those people. I'm rooting for this to end in a very, and again, it's terrible to be talking like this, but this is how it's going to end because these people don't understand anything but violence and death. And it's going to be shown to them. And it's your kids out there right now. Let's not forget 9/11, right? And the New York City Police Department right now have to stomach these scumbags parading around, burning American flags, calling for the death of Jews, and most importantly, the death of Americans, right? Let's not forget, again, that's the whole reason that it's being accepted right now because nobody gives a shit when the Jews try to stand up for themselves. That's the reason that this country is on a fucking downward slope here. And if you're a Jewish person, you're voting Democrats, you got to get your head fucking examined. But anyway, I think there's going to be a major event in this country in the next 3 to 6 months, and there's no way I want to be long the market. I don't care if it's breaking out to all-time highs. I'm done buying stocks. Okay? I'll swing them for a day or two, but I got a trade that works every time, no matter what the market's doing. I'm extremely bearish. I'm bearish society. I'm bearish the market. I do think it's a bubble. I think none of these stocks are worth what they're trading at. But again, the illusion continues to go. I can't fight it. But I have now reclaimed my presidential status of bearish president. Anyway, I'm hungry. I got to go. Yeah, there could be a scenario where Israel can be critiqued. When Israel puts down their weapons, or in general, when the good people put down their weapons and they say, hey, look, we want peace, and then rockets and bullets are still fired, then you know who the bad guy is. Because there's been over, I don't know, 63 different ceasefires over the last 12 years, and none of them were breached. They were breached by the other side. And here, let me explain how the whole scenario is. So there's a gun here, right? So I'm a sane person, whatever religion you believe, right? And then you have the terrorist over there. Hey, man, you want to live in a cave and dress up in costumes and pretend that your religion is the best religion? You do you over there. I'm just going to do me over here. Just don't pick the gun up and shoot me in the back when I walk away. I'm going to leave it right there. All right? All right, I'm going to try to walk. Oh, you're already picking the gun up. Oh, you're shooting me in the back. Oh, I'm dead. No more. Preemptive attack now is the way to go, because you know they're going to pick up the gun. The bad guy always picks up the gun and shoots him in the back. So, again, if you're happy about this country, and remember, there's freedom of speech, and then there's hate speech. We've already made that decision. Because if I went out in the streets right now calling for the death of black people right now, I'd be killed. If I called for the death of the LGBT community, I'd be slaughtered. Right? But if you call for the death of Jews, nobody gives a shit. Right? You see it? And that's why this is all happening. So put away your anti-Semitism. And remember, they're burning American flags. And the New York City cops have to stomach this. And these are the same people that were spitting on cops. These are the same people that their parents were parading around the streets saying, thank God, or thank whoever they thank, for the destruction of America. Nothing's changed 20-something years later. Never forget. Apparently we forgot. It's not about Israel. It's about allowing terrorists to parade around in our country right now. And it's your kids, because they're so confused and looking for something to believe in. You've lost. We've lost the youth of America. And I teach my kids the right thing. My kids weren't brought up in a Jewish household. They were brought up in a household knowing the difference between right and wrong. Have a nice day.